All right, so on that annoying note, I'm going to go ahead and call us to order at 8:40 Eastern Time. And I will have our secretary go ahead and do attendance roll call.
Okay, so the 8:36 time is now voided to 8:41.
Oh, did I already say 8:36? So
Yeah,
that's fine.
okay. All right. Ms. McCardle,
Present.
Mr. Rutherford,
Present.
I am present. Mr. Redpath,
Yes.
Mr. Boss.
Present.
Travis is here. I don't know who that was.
Okay, Madam
Yes.
Madam Chair, do you wish to address that issue?
Okay, so Mr. Chopra, you're not on the LNC, so you're not going to be recognized during this meeting. You're welcome to stay and attend and watch, but please just let the people on the committee speak.
Okay.
Thank you. I didn't hear Mr. Nikela. I don't believe we have Mr. Nikela. Mr. Vincent? Yeah, I'm hoping somebody's madly texting both of these persons as we're waiting.
I just texted Steve.
Mr. Watkins?
Also
Oh,
here.
well, that was just you. Ms. Yanuskavich?
Here.
Mr. Dar?
Here.
Mr. Dassing?
Here.
Mr. Ford? I don't see Mr. Ford, so Mr. Garcia?
Here.
Mr. Heyman?
Present.
I saw Ms. Hayes on screen earlier. Is she still present?
Still present, but I am ceding my votes tonight as I am on call, as mentioned.
Noted. Mr. McGee?
Here.
Mr. Nana?
I'm here.
Mr. Bracco, I believe, told me he would not be able to make it, but is he here? Okay, he's not. Mr. Chatterton?
Present.
Mr. Hirsch? Okay, I'm marking him down as absent for right now, at least. Mr. Johnson?
I'm here.
Mr. Maligan?
Present.
Mr. Sean? Okay, I'm noting him as absent. Mr. Thompson?
Here.
Mr. Weir?
Yep.
Okay, Madam Chair, I'm showing as absent and at larges, Mr. Nikela and Mr. Vincent. For regionals, it's Mr. Ford, meaning Mr. Weir would be in his place. Even though Ms. Hayes is present, she has stated that Mr. Maligan will be acting regional. Out of the regionals, alts, Mr. Bracco, Mr. Hirsch, and Mr. Sean are absent.
Thank you very much. I think everybody has been reached out to who's not present. I know Mr. Vincent is not going to be available this evening.
Okay, now note that so I don't keep waiting.
Mm-hmm. All right. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Sorry myself. I thought Mr. Nikela was, and so is Mr. Ford, so that's unusual.
All right, so we are just wrapping up new business without previous notice. That's where we're at. I had one thing to address. I see Mr. Maligan has his hand up. So Mr. Maligan, go ahead.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Since we are still in new business without previous notice, I would like to move to add Mr. Stephen Nikela and Mr. Justin Nana to the investigatory committee. I understand that while Mr. Nikela is not here, he has accepted this, I guess, a possible appointment, and Mr. Nana can speak to whether or not he would accept that appointment before it's seconded.
I'll second.
Okay. did anyone speak to Mr. Nikela? Did you, Mr. Malagon? And do you know if he'll accept that appointment?
I did speak to Mr. Nikela. He does accept that appointment should it happen.
Okay. Mr. Nana?
Yeah, he spoke to me as well, and I accept.
Okay. All right, it's been moved and seconded to add Dustin Nana and Stephen Nikela to the investigatory committee. Mr. Malagon, did you want to speak to your motion?
Sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. So I have, given the events of Sunday and Mr. Heyman's wishes and the discussion that took place on Sunday in person in Miami, I approached Mr. Heyman and the other two current members of the committee, Mr. McGee and Mr. Ford, with my desire to add Mr. Nikela and Mr. Nana. I think that their experience is invaluable. I think that their input would be invaluable and very helpful for this committee. So everyone agreed that that would be the case, which is at that point, I reached out to Mr. Nana and Mr. Nikela, and they both agreed and were more than happy to assist the committee in its work. So that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Does anyone else have any comment on it?
Yes, ma'am. I found it. I obviously had wanted 3 persons, but I appreciate Mr. Malagon's motion. And if anyone cares as to my opinion, I approve of Mr. Nikela and Mr. Nana.
All right, thank you very much. If there's no additional discussion, we can go to a vote. I believe this is just a majority.
Madam Chair, I believe since you are amending something previously adopted, it would take a 2/3.
Is there any objection to hearing from Mr. Brown, our parliamentarian? Hearing none. Mr. Brown, you're just recommending. Yeah.
I'm not so sure. I'm looking that up, Madam Chair, because I'm
It's
not
okay.
sure.
Why don't you both just send me a note?
Sure.
Just send me a note in text, and then we won't have to have a duel. But thank you.
Amend something
Hang out
previously
for a minute.
adopted. Majority. No, main motion, excuse me.
Or a majority of the entire LNC, either one. No, I'm sorry, Madam Chair. You wanted a note. I'm sorry.
Yeah, let's just do it that way. Then I don't encourage people to do crosstalk. But thank you.
Madam Secretary, Mr. Ford is here.
Thank you.
Apologies, Madam Secretary, was with a state affiliate.
No worries. I am wondering.
I've got it on Ronar here. It's 2/3. I think that we can muster 2/3 for this. I think everyone can do that. I'd like to see it.
Or Madam Secretary, I do have excuse me. I didn't mean to demote you.
Okay.
Madam Chair, you'd hear me out. The other option for Mr. Malagon would be to do a motion to reconsider, since he was on the winning side, which would require a majority, and then he would remove the motion, which would require a majority. But if there's confidence that there's 2/3, that's extra steps not needed.
Let's move ahead and
I'm pretty confident. Yeah, I'm pretty confident in this. And since the committee's work is already underway, I think this would be the simplest way to do it.
yeah, let's go ahead and move ahead with a 2/3 vote, and let's please get it to everyone. When you are ready, Madam Secretary.
I am ready, Madam Chair, but did you want to ask if there was any objection?
Sure, we can do that. Is there any objection to adding Mr. Nikela and Mr. Nana? Going once, going twice. Okay, well, hearing no objection, we will just go ahead and add them, and that motion passes. Very easy. Thank you, everyone. Mr. Malagon, I'm sure you will get in touch with your new committee members right away. I see you have your hand up, so go right ahead.
I do. I specifically waited until after the objections were clear that they were not going to happen. So I would like to, since we're still in new business without previous notice, just give a small report to the about the IC's work thus far, just be a 30-second update. So we did meet last night. The 3 members and the 2 members that I anticipated being on this committee, I didn't think this would be controversial. So they did join us in our meeting last night. We are underway with a list of people to interview, course of action moving forward. A chair was elected last night. I am the chair of the investigatory committee. Mr. McGee, I was voted in unanimously. Mr. McGee is the secretary of the investigatory committee. He was also voted in unanimously, and it was a very productive meeting. We hope to, again, I want to stress this to everybody, we are not going to rush the work. We are going to do everything that we possibly can to make sure that all available data and information is present for the thorough nature of this investigation. And but we do hope to get it done by October at the latest. But again, that's just a rough timeline based on what we have availabilities for interviews, and all of that will be contingent on the time frame. But that is all I have. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you very much. I'll note Mr. Stephen Nikela joined. Okay, does anybody have anything else before I jump on? All right. So there are some members of Colorado on the call. I would like to discuss some things with them regarding legal issues. My interest in this is talking things down, seeing what we need to do to mediate disputes, seeing where they're at, all of that. Some of that I think needs to be probably handled in executive session. I'm not asking them to enter into any formal legal talks without their attorney, but I just want to put together a general lay of the land. Is there any objection to hearing from Colorado? I'm just going to ask them a couple of questions while we're not in executive session. All right. Okay, hearing none. I believe we have our Colorado State Chair on.
Yes.
Okay, so I don't want to get into anything that's going to create, like a huge controversy with personal insults, all of that stuff. I think you have a pretty good sense of kind of where I'm going, but I know that you have been upset with our presidential campaign over some things that have happened in Colorado. And I'm wondering, I've been hesitant to get in the middle of that. I tried, bringing you guys together for a call initially. It didn't work out. And I'm just wondering if there's anything that I can do without putting us in the middle of a legal battle to kind of help things out.
I wish I had ideas for you on how to facilitate that, but currently I'm just drawing blanks.
Okay. Does anyone on the executive committee in particular?
Madam Chair, I am a bit unclear as to your question. Is it possible you can repeat it?
Sure. So, LPCO is unhappy with our presidential candidates right now, and I'm trying to see if there's anything that I can do to smooth things out that doesn't place me in the middle of a legal battle.
Okay, Madam Chair, I do not want to discuss legal things that are not public, quite obviously. But I can let you know what's going on publicly on legal side involving Colorado, not involving the LNC. There was this is all public. There,
well, I was really referencing things between the campaign and LPCO. I didn't want to get into like the
I
personal.
think this could help though. And I think there could be a solution at the end of it.
Okay.
The judge is keeping the case open until after September 6th. I understand that Colorado's bylaws had us electing electors. There is a disagreement on whether state law requires that. I'm not a lawyer, not going to argue state law. I believe if the Chase campaign and the LPCO can talk to the SOS and agree on a substitution of electors to the ones chosen at convention and excluding the two that were removed, because I can't speak for them. They believe they were removed unjustly. I can't talk for them. That perhaps that can be something.
Okay. Colorado, did you want to talk with me maybe an executive session about anything that's going on legally that you didn't want to talk about in the public? Is there anything of that nature that you want to chat about?
Sure, I would feel far more comfortable going into an executive session, just because there's so much legal things and it seems like every time I open my mouth, somebody tells me I'm going to be sued. So I would prefer to keep whatever I have to say as close to the best as I possibly can.
Totally fair. Okay, I'm gonna move that the LNC go into executive session with members of the Libertarian Party of Colorado's Executive Committee for the purpose of discussing legal issues regarding our potential campaign.
Madam Chair, because I am a litigant with the LPCO, without the express consent of Chair Goodman, I would voluntarily stay out of the executive session. I honestly will honor everything said in executive session and keep it secret. But because I am a litigant and to avoid any appearance of weirdness, I would voluntarily stay out unless Ms. Goodman affirmatively gave permission with my promise that I would not disclose anything from executive session.
Thank you. I think that's a good idea. And this is a discussion only topic, so I don't think you're going to be left out on anything regarding votes. Mr. Watkins?
I was just going to say the same thing. I think it's better if we go into executive session with Colorado so that they may speak more frankly, especially if we're implicated in on this. I think the secretary should sit out, but if she's going to voluntarily sit out, then I won't move to amend anything.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, I think I need a second.
I will second, Madam Chair.
Okay, great. And then unless anybody brings anything up, this is gonna be the last item. That's our last hanging chad from our previous 2 days of business. And hopefully we're not going to take very long. Any objections?
No. Spraying stuff.
Well, Madam Chair, though, I did ask, though, if Ms. Goodman would affirmatively agree, that's probably redundant, to my presence if, with my sworn word.
Let me ask, Ms. Goodman, are you, I assume you prefer if we keep, if the secretary stays out of executive session?
I prefer that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you guys. All right, so there we go. If there's no objection, I'll work on getting us into a breakout room right now. And I assume when we get out, we're just gonna adjourn, but I don't know that for sure. Because it's new business without previous notice, but that's my intention.
Madam Chair, I would hope you would give me just one moment since I did voluntarily agree to avoid controversy. I would just like to state on the record once again that I do not believe that any of the litigation in Colorado has anything to do with the LNC. I am voluntarily not coming for person's comfort.
Got it. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair, this is Mr. Brown. I'll be available by text message or cell phone if you need me. In fact, I'll put an AirPod in. I can maybe hear when I come back, but I'll be available.
Thank you. And it'll just take me a while to figure out how to move myself, but I'll get it.
And
Now I
Madam Chair,
move to adjourn.
Thank you. I wanted the motion on the recording.
Second.
Mr. Malagon moved to adjourn. Mr. Redpath seconded. Any objections? All right, hearing none, we are adjourned at 9:38 p.m. Eastern Time. Thank you all very much.